Many people are quick to dismiss the homeless as lazy or undeserving. But the truth is, anyone can fall on hard times, and without a support system, homelessness is the only option for many individuals. But occasionally, homeless people catch the public's attention with their inspiring actions. From self-made millionaires to vagrant philanthropists, we're exploring the amazing stories of homeless people. When Chris Gardner and his young son were sleeping rough on the floor of a public toilet, he never could have dreamed that his life story would be turned into a hit Hollywood movie. It was back in the early 1980s that Mr. Gardner, then aged 27, and his toddler son were homeless for a year in San Francisco. Enrolled on a low-paid trainee scheme at a stock brokerage, he didn't have enough money to pay the deposit to rent an apartment. So Mr. Gardner, who was estranged from his partner, and Chris Jr. would instead sleep wherever they could. Loyal to his son and determined to find them a comfortable place to live, he started investing in medical equipment, essentially putting himself in debt to afford a new beginning. But tragedy struck when Gardner was put in jail for failing to pay $1,200 in outstanding parking tickets. But then someone took a chance on him. Gardner took a job at Bear Stearns & Company and became one of the highest earners in the company. In 1987, Gardner opened his own brokerage firm named Gardner Rich & Co. in Chicago, Illinois. Gardner grew the brokerage firm for almost 20 years and then sold his small stake for a multi-million-dollar deal in 2000. His story was so remarkable that he was portrayed by Will Smith in the 2006 film The Pursuit of Happiness. Dani Johnson worked as a cocktail waitress in Hawaii. She spent her nights in a car with $2 and $35,000 in debt. She has faced brutal physical, emotional, and sexual abuse as a child, and tried attempting suicide many times. Her only dream those days was to be able to afford an accommodation in Hawaii which could cost her around $4,500 per month. One day, she found a weight loss program in the backseat of her car, which she had purchased long before she was homeless, and it became the solution for all her problems. She called the manufacturer and inquired about the cost of that commodity in Hawaii. Within a few days, she handwrote a flyer for a weight loss program and placed it in the post office. 3 hours later, she received 25 messages from the prospective clients. In a month, she ended up with 40 checks totaling $4,000 and made $250,000 in the first year. By the second year, she had 18 weight loss centers all around the country. Fast forward to now, Johnson is a millionaire many times over and has a beautiful, healthy family whom she lovingly cares for. Of course, she is still active as a homeless advocate in her community. Immortalized by the fictionalized version of himself in The Blind Side, Michael Oher has the sort of inspirational story that only comes along once in a lifetime. When The Blind Side was released in theaters in 2009, it was an instant success. The movie featured a loaded cast: Sandra Bullock, Tim McGraw, Kathy Bates, Nick Saban, and more. The impressive performance of the cast scored an Academy Award nomination for Best Film. But Oher was deeply displeased by the movie because he felt he was inaccurately characterized. However, many of the elements of the film were true. His father was largely absent due to extensive jail time, his mother was a crack cocaine addict, and Oher really did find an outlet in high school football. The film departs from reality in Oher's personality, though. He's ebullient and gregarious, whereas his character in the film is extremely dour and soft-spoken. Oher also questions the timeline of the movie, claiming he was not simply found out in the rain and picked up by his adoptive mother. He also points out that his adoptive family was openly racist when he first joined them at home, a fact that the movie glosses over for the sake of palatability. A disabled beggar who donated his last 2 months of income, around 1,003 yuan, to victims of the Yan earthquake quickly went viral on the Chinese internet. The man with long hair and shabby clothes won the hearts of Chinese citizens after donating money to help victims in his hometown province. He gave all his small change to Wulamuchi Charity Federation staff, keeping only 50 yuan for food. The man, originally from Xisheng in Sichuan province, relies on begging to survive. Nevertheless, he said he wanted to do something for his hometown and wanted to help victims in a difficult situation. Some passers-by were moved by his gesture. It was not the first time the man donated to people in need. In March, he reportedly donated money to an 8-year-old girl with leukemia. The beggar also asked to remain anonymous, as he did not want to be praised for his act. In his mind, all people should give to their greatest ability, even if they have next to nothing to donate. However, it is said that he is greatly appreciated in his community, and because of his generous gifts, his neighbors have committed to caring for him. I Am is another homeless man who reminds us all how lucky we are. The 63-year-old beggar suffers from a bad case of polio. He cannot walk naturally and can only speak in short, barely intelligible bursts. Even in his youth, he could not hold down a consistent job, but he found a more comfortable income as a beggar. In fact, he begged in front of the same Thai temple for more than 35 years. Over those decades, he accrued a sizable amount of money. Rather than spend this money on something extravagant for himself, I.M. opted to donate it to the temple where he was a resident. In all, he donated more than 1 million baht to the temple, or the equivalent of $40,000. This is an astounding feat in Thailand, where the average income is only $800 a month. He earns 3,000 to 4,000 baht on weekdays and 20,000 to 40,000 baht on weekends, keeping very little of it for himself. To prove he's living an ascetic life, I.M. keeps the receipts from all of his donations. He's determined to live simply and help others live to their fullest potential every day. Known by many names, Dobry Dobrev was considered to be one of the last remaining saints before he passed away in 2018. Locals called him Grandpa Dobry, Elder Dobry, or the Saint of Bailovo. For over 25 years, the hunched figure in a threadbare coat and peasant sandals holding a cup for donations was a regular sight at the entrance to Sofia, Bulgaria's Seven Saints Church, or the Alexander Nevsky Cathedral in the city center. He walked more than 20 kilometers every day to find his place in front of the church. But Dobrev is not a beggar. He donates all of the money to charity, including more than $20,000 to the fortification of the church's dome. He went on to help a number of monasteries and smaller churches by donating the alms he collected throughout the years, which added up to considerable sums in Bulgaria, the European Union's poorest country. The homeless man lost his hearing after a bomb detonated near him in World War II. After returning home, he committed his life to God and began a campaign to preserve all of the churches in his beloved homeland. Locals will always remember him as a friendly and devout staple of the Sofia landscape. Liz Murray represents one of the truest rags-to-riches stories in history. Her childhood was consumed by drug-addicted parents, hunger, and homelessness. When Liz was 16, her schizophrenic mother, who she'd been taking care of for years, died of complications related to AIDS. At the age of 18, Liz, who had been unable to attend school because of her difficult situation, decided to go back to high school. Liz was beginning high school at the time most teenagers were graduating, but she promised herself to become a straight-A student. As she neared the end of her high school education, and with her straight-A grades, Liz was taken on a school trip to Boston, her first time out of New York. The last thing we did was go to Harvard Yard, simply because we were supposed to take a picture in front of the John Harvard statue. Sensing her excitement, a teacher suggested she apply, but with no money and still homeless, a secret she had kept from everyone at school, Harvard seemed out of reach. But after applying to the prestigious Ivy League school and a host of scholarships, Murray was accepted and began a long and successful career as a public speaker and homeless activist. Jason Schneidman is a celebrity hairstylist who self-identifies as a recovered drug addict and spent part of his life teetering on the edge of homelessness. That's why he felt obligated to give back to the less fortunate. Schneidman was volunteering his services at Samichel, a Santa Monica homeless shelter that provides interim housing for around 70 men and women. "I'm doing great," one homeless man said when asked what he thinks of his haircut. "This guy's amazing." When not giving free haircuts to the homeless, Schneidman is employed at the Beverly Hills-based Chris McMillan Salon, whose clients include late-night talk show host James Corden, musician David Foster, and actor Dustin Hoffman. Schneidman said the free haircuts, which he started doing a year ago, began by accident. One of his clients, filmmaker Steven Kessler, was interested in filming Schneidman giving haircuts to business people on the street who were in need of makeovers. They went into a U-Haul dealership looking for a day worker in need of a haircut, and the woman at the counter told them that there was a drunken man in the alley who could use one. And so Haircuts for the Homeless was born. The 47-year-old was able to connect with homeless people facing struggles with alcoholism and substance abuse because he had become addicted to alcohol and drugs in his late 20s when he was living in Long Beach. Now 14 years sober, Schneidman is happy to give back. Weddings are so expensive that many people need to take out loans just to afford their special day. When Sarah Cummins, a 25-year-old graduate student from Indiana, decided to call off her wedding, she discovered that she would not be refunded the exorbitant cost of her venue, food, and decorations. Rather than throw the $30,000 investment away, she opted to treat members of her local homeless shelter to the meal of a lifetime. Local businesses also donated suits, dresses, and spring clothing for homeless guests to wear to the reception and keep afterward. Cummins also arranged for shuttle buses to pick up guests for the new reception. "For me, it was an opportunity to let these people know they deserve to be at a place like this just as much as everyone else does," Cummins said. Men, women, and children from the area came to the venue she was supposed to have her reception at, located just outside Indianapolis, and dined on bourbon-glazed meatballs, goat cheese, and garlic bruschetta, chicken breast with artichokes, and wedding cake. The decorations, table settings, and flower arrangements were all on display, and local businesses and residents donated formal attire for the guests to wear. Cummins attended the event too, along with her mother, aunts, and 3 of her bridesmaids. Amazon Prime's same-day delivery service makes all of our lives that much easier. But what if we used its convenience to help those in need this holiday season? That's the question posed by video creator Rob Bliss, who made a clip that tested out how Amazon Prime can be used in real time to help someone who's homeless and in need of resources. In the video, Bliss speaks with homeless individuals and asks them what they need this holiday season. The answers range from socks and shoes to water and long johns. When it comes to delivery, he inputs their address on the street and includes their name and a description of them so that the Prime couriers can deliver the package directly to the individuals. It's an idea that's so easily and efficiently accomplished it makes you wonder why courier services haven't utilized this before. The plan worked, and within 2 hours, messengers arrived with packages filled with crucial items. The video has since been viewed more than 2 million times on YouTube, and now Bliss hopes others will use on-demand services like Amazon Prime Now to help those in need.